Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm using some blackout ink, some ephemera pack Christmas from Tim Holtz from last year I think, the combo rectangles from Mama Elephant, and Santa's helpers from Simon Says Stamp from a kit from last year. It was one of the monthly kits and I didn't get to use it, so I thought I'd use it this year. So I also have some Tombow markers, which are brand new to me and a brand new try for this. So this is definitely a trial and error kind of card, and a couple of zigs in colours I didn't have in the Tombows. I really love the Tombows. Now I've used them a bit, but I think I just need to get the colour combinations to get enough shading. I just need to, get that right. But that's just a play around with it until you figure out what works for you. So I have my Tim Holtz platform here, and I'm taking my stamps. I've already pre-cut the largest stitched rectangle from the combo die set, and I'll show you how those dies work in a minute. So I'm using the largest stitched rectangle, and I'm also going to use the largest of the combo die, which looks a little funny when you first look at it, but it's super easy and so clever. So I have some Bristol Smooth cardstock here because I believe this is, at this point I didn't know, but at this point I believed that this was a good cardstock for Tombows. A bit like with your zigs, they're fantastic with zigs, and actually they are really good. It is good paper with your Tombow markers if you have them. So I'm just lining up my entire scene, if you will, and I'm putting the stamp on there as well as the sentiment and a little heart. I just thought the combo of that on that size rectangle works beautifully and just made sense for me to do that. So I am inking this up with some Ink on 3 detailed blackout hybrid ink, which means I can use it with a watercolor marker as well as an alcohol marker. I do find that unless it's not completely dry, which obviously I was just working as I went here, there were a couple places it sort of moved the outline ink, but nothing major, so I didn't worry about it too much. So you might want to just hit it with a heat tool just to completely dry it off. But there's my little scene, if you will, my little image for the front. I think in the old days we used to call them toppers. So yeah, and I kind of, my little heart stamp kind of pinged off there, so I'll get that in a minute with a pair of tweezers because, it's the smallest little thing. So once I cleaned that off a bit, I'm putting that to one side, and I'm going to grab my Tombows and my image, and I will speed this bit up quite a lot. I have certain colours that I was using, 845 and 835 for the Tombows. I don't have the Tombow markers don't come with a name of the colours on them, but I thought if I at least reference the numbers, that will give you an idea of what those colours are if you check their website out, or just leave a comment if you really need to know. I'll figure it out and I'll tell you what they are. They do have a lovely download actually for putting your colours onto, like your sample colours. So I will be doing that, and so hopefully I'll remember some of the names of these. But I think one of them is I think the carnation is the one that I don't have, and that's a good colour combination for one of the others. Anyway, I digress. So I'm basically using 2 shades of red that I thought would work together, one darker, one lighter. The darker one wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to be. So that's why I say it's good to get a colour combination that will work for you. And to try and find it. Sometimes I think the colours darker and lighter and there's a good contrast, and a lot of the time there's not enough contrast. So I think if you're going for a darker one and a lighter one, practice on some cardstock just to see whether that combo is the right combo, which is what I should have done, but I didn't. So so yeah. And so I'm just going to work through all the red. I thought it'd be a good idea to colour all the same colour at the same time. This does work for the most part, but sometimes my cat, every time I do this, for the most part, I sometimes forget little spots, so I do that. And I'll have to go back and colour in the other little red spots that I've left out, or pink, or whatever it is. So working my way through those colours at the through the red at the moment. The other thing just to bear in mind is, because it's water-based markers, a bit like with your zigs, try and keep your arms or your hands out of it while you're colouring, because otherwise you could smear the ink, and you obviously don't want that. So for the greens, I again just took a lighter and a darker one, and this combo I like. There's enough contrast between the light and the dark, which I really liked. It's a bright green. This whole card is kind of bright, but it's nice. And again, I'm going in and working my dark colour first, or darker colour first, and then adding in the lighter one. And that way, my cat, that way I can get that sort of easy shading, and just for a bit of depth, so nothing too fancy. Yeah, I do realise afterwards, you'll see later on, that I actually at this point didn't realise, of course, the bottom section of what looks like his shirt is actually his belt. So I missed that he had a little buckle where he's holding the roll of paper. I missed that there was actually a little buckle there, so I totally coloured his entire belt the same colour, but we'll fix that later, just so that there's that line. So like on her, on the right hand side, it's a lot easier to see her belt and her little, on her dress, whereas for him, yeah, not so much. So I totally missed that, but never mind. And then for the little girl elf, I decided on 2 shades of pink. Again, I quite like this combo, but I think I could still have a darker pink for my shaded pink, if that makes sense. And yeah, so but I do like this combo, and I'm just using the markers as 2 markers. I'm not using any water, I'm not using any you can use these like you can your zigs, so you could put down a layer of color and then use a water brush, aqua marker, whatever they're called, and or a paintbrush in water, and just drag that color out, and that will give you good shading as well. That's a beautiful thing. I love doing that as well. That looks really effective if you heat emboss your image first. That also helps to keep it in the lines, but even if you don't do that, that's a lovely thing. What I would say with that, though, is work on one area, if you like, at a time, and move to a different area so that the first area has time to dry off a bit before you come in with another colour, because there is that chance that you're going to drag, because it's still wet, you're going to drag that first colour out into the second colour, if that makes sense. So just getting these, this is where I realised I'd missed a few spots. It's fine. We're just going to wing it. And then I missed another spot as I'd done that. Anyway, so I've got 2 shades of brown for the hair. I just thought I'm keeping it super simple. I used one colour for their skin tone. I'm not good with skin tones, like doing skin tones, even with my Copic markers. I really just can't get the hang of it. There are some amazing artists out there who do these incredible like colours, for shading and things like that, and with hair as well. I keep it simple. I like the dark to light kind of shading, and that works for me for now. One day maybe I'll get better at it. So I kind of blops in a minute on the on the paper. So the whole time I've been doing 2 shades of colour for each colour, to get a bit of depth. I totally wiped out here and picked up the wrong blue and landed up colouring in, instead of going dark to light with the blues, I picked up the same colour. So in the end I just decided to make it stripy. So just sort of alternating the light and dark colour. Yeah. So these things happen. It turns out fine. I actually really like how this whole thing, like how it looked in the end. I thought it looked really, very sweet. So yeah, I just kind of ran with it because it was too late to start a new one. I didn't want to start again, especially when you're filming and things like that. So anyway, so again, just going in and finding the spots that I'd missed, and then going into things like the little package at the bottom. There's a few bits on the floor, so there's the scissors, the ribbon, pardon me, and the little present. So I tried to just use different colours just so it wasn't all the same. You know, I didn't want samey across the bottom, and also I needed contrast between the ribbon and her red and pink, so I just used the green one there, especially that I had the blue present on the other side. And then for the scissors, I'm going to use a Sakura, this is a jelly roll pen, but this is one of the sparkle ones, but in the silver. I thought that was apt for scissors, being metal and all that. And then I used the gold Sakura Stardust pen for the buckles. And again, it's very subtle. And it's when I did the buckle on the boy that I realised, yep, that bottom bit is actually his belt. So I will fix that in a minute with another pen. And then I tried to use my Sakura White Gel Pen on some of these just to get some, you know, like dots or stripes or whatever it is. And for some reason it did not like working over the top of the markers, whether it's because it was still damp and the ink hadn't dried yet, I don't know. So if anybody does know that, please let me know, because on her belt I really struggled with that, and eventually I just changed it up completely because I just think, well, I'm that far in, I'm just gonna have to wing it with a different pen. But I really wanted the white on there. I thought that would look quite nice, but it just was not working very well, so I changed it and found a few spots where I had this is where I fixed the belt on him. So I added this is a Sakura glaze pen in black, and I use this glaze pen for a billion different things, but eyes and noses on little critters works beautifully for that. So I just did some sort of stripy tartan type style on there, and then I just did some stripes on hers because I wanted to add, you know, like I say, I wanted to add the white pen, but that really wasn't working, so I just, you know, just kind of ran with it. This pen worked a lot better on there, as you can see, and it's got a little bit of shine to it, so it's really nice in that sense. And so I got that on there. And then this is the combo. So you cut 2 pieces and then you literally flip one around. It's that easy. And when I first saw this, my brain just went, what? But it is such an easy thing and it's so effective. I will say, like, for me, the lining up, but I'm terrible at lining things up anyway, you guys know that. But in theory, you should just be able to line up the corners with the corners kind of thing. And it's not as difficult as I'm making it look here, but this was the first time I was actually doing this as well. And I think if you use a wet adhesive, you've got a little bit of room to wiggle things in place, but honestly, it went together pretty easy. So yeah, so that's that, and I just think it's so cute. They have a round one as well, so these are the Mama Elephant dies, and they're just clever. So clever. So you could easily cut this out in white and do each little bump, if you like, or scallop, a different color, and alternate it that way. You could use different color cardstocks like I did here. You know, whatever. It's the cutest thing. So I decided I wanted to vintage this thing up because I can't help myself. I do love a good vintage Christmassy card, and also because I wanted to use the Tim Holtz Christmas collection of ephemera from, I think it's last year or the year before. I had to add some vintage photo to it. So I'm using some vintage photo distress ink with a blender tool just around the edges of everything. I did put the card at the combo dies together, as you saw, the red and white. Put them together and then I inked it. I just thought that was easier. And I just think it worked better that way. You could ink each one individually and then stick them together. But I didn't bother with that. And then also the edges of the front of my base card. So I've just got some green cardstock for the base card. Actually, I had this card sitting in my drawer ready to go. So sometimes it's nice to use those sort of things up, because most of the time I'll use a white card base now, because a lot of my fronts will cover the whole of the front of the card, and then it's also easy on the inside. So putting the largest panel on where our image is, and it fits in those corners perfectly, so it's very easy again to pop onto the what am I trying to say, on these scallops on the combo rectangles. Right, got some adhesive on there, and I'm going to stick this flat to the front. And of course, me being me, I can't stick anything flat, straight or level, so I tried to take it off. I did manage to get it off. I can't remember if I did this on camera or if I left it here, but I think afterwards I must have taken it off and just moved it a little bit. It was a little off key and it bothered me, so I did that. And at this point I was thinking perhaps it needs something else, so I grabbed this is a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, I believe, and I just added a little bit of color there. Now, because this is wet onto a watercolor marker that's already laid down, be careful because it will move the ink, of course. So I kind of mucked up a bit there on the edges there, but that's fine. I managed to fix it, and it's vintage, so it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So this is a look at it right now, and I then decided, and forgot about the Tim Holtz stuff I wanted to use. So I basically dragged this out, and eventually I find and there's a billion things in here. I found it looks like an old postage stamp, and I thought, because I'd vintaged it up, I thought this would be very cute to make it look kind of like it's a postcard, but not, sort of thing. So I wanted to stick that in the corner. Now the funny thing is that when I do this in a second, I put this on and I put it on upside down, and then I go and I put it the right way up. No, I didn't put it the right way up. I think I thought it was the right way up, and when I went and had a chat, showed my husband, he was like, it's the wrong way around. So I had to change that. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.